There are pros and cons to living rent free for sure. I moved into my no build van build. I moved into a van at the age of 50. I had a 50th birthday party and I have not looked back, and it's been over 4 years. And I enjoy the versatility of this lifestyle, although I'm not a van dweller. I have never been a van dweller. I have claimed van dwelling, but I've never been a van dwelling. But we'll get into that a little bit later. What I do like about traveling and living mostly full time in a van and not being a van dweller, I live free as. Welcome to I forgot to say, welcome to the Joy Route channel. I'm Frankie. I'm living my life 1 minute, 1 mile, and 1 cup of lightly roasted black coffee at a time. Before I dive deep into the wonderful world of nomadic living, and oh yes, I'm going to sing its praises. If you want to know what are the biggest obstacles or challenges I face as a nomad, go back and watch maybe every 1 or 2 videos on this channel from the beginning, and you'll discover the challenges I face. But this video is not about the challenges, it's about the rewards. Let's get it. The only time one can ever live this freely is maybe when they were like a kid, or maybe even in their early 20s, when you didn't have a care in the world, or early teens I should say, and you didn't have a care in the world. You lived with your mama, your daddy, your grandmama, and everything was pretty much taken care of for you, except there were rules, right? But still everything was taken care of. When you became an adult, and maybe even before you became an adult, life life started lifing. Life started lifing. Life got real. And every time you thought you would change the direction of your life, maybe pursue a different career, maybe pursue a creative project, maybe just go on a sabbatical, every time you decided you were going to do one of those things, life started lifing, right? And so your financial responsibilities, your responsibilities to your family, to your loved ones, to your friends, to your career, it seems like there is never the perfect opportunity. What I found in doing this nomadic lifestyle is every time you want it to be the perfect opportunity, it is. And it's not because life don't be lifing, life be lifing. If you've followed this podcast, you know for me, life be lifing, right? But not having a fixed amount of rent that I own, it gives me the financial freedom. It gives me the opportunity to have some, not more, but some disposable income that I use for travel, less junk and more journey. I would not be able to travel on epic road trips if I had to pay rent. If I had to pay rent, it just wouldn't be possible to travel. Yeah, I've been to on some, like, if you want to call them luxury vacations, to Jamaica, to Mexico, to a few places. And when I went on those trips, it took me all of a year to save up to go with a large travel group. I had a ball, but I don't want to save up a whole year to go somewhere. Another thing that not paying rent has allowed me to do is to take more creative, some of you might call them business risks. I love creating digital products, and face it though, 80% of the product, 80% of anything you do in life is not going to work, and 20% going to work. And the 20% that works is going to allow you to do everything you want to do. And so when you taking these, when you creating creative products or whatever your thing is, maybe it's starting a business or whatever, there is no opportunity to fail when everything you own is banking on it. So if everything you own is banking on this one creative risk you take, you're not gonna be able to take those creative risks. Not paying rent has allowed me to deal with seasonal depression. Let's just say mental health, and not totally, but when you, like, I'm back in Ohio and I'm in my winter room, I'm renting what I call my winter room. And when you're dealing with something like seasonal depression is so real. You feel like, I don't even want to get out of bed today. I don't even want to get out of bed. And if you just had if you had small children, if you had like a traditional mortgage or rent, you got to get out of bed. Forget your mental health, forget your seasonal depression. You got to get out of bed and you got to do what you do, right? Have y'all ever have y'all ever watched the episode of Good Times, the TV show that came out in the 70s? Y'all hear me? Some of y'all out there, y'all hearing me? And that TV show, if when they didn't have a rent, when they didn't have a rent, y'all, it was just like terrible. Like JJ would have to go out and like he would take some risks, like maybe have to do something illegal, or he would attempt to. James would bring him back to think, and Florida would just be like, damn. It was like horrible. It is the worst thing in the world when you giving it everything you got, but everything you got is still not enough. And so that's what it's become in the U.S. having to pay like rent or a mortgage. It's what we live for. We don't live for anything else but to pay that rent. And so it just strips you of your financial freedom, and that pressure of living with someone like your parents, and they can't make the rent, can't make the mortgage, and you got to come home and your stuff about to be on the line. I just never want that. I truly just don't believe in paying rent. But I shouldn't say it like that, because even if you don't believe in paying rent, you pay rent. Like, it may not be 12 months out of the year, but you do pay rent. I'm in a room right now. I'm paying rent. I just want people, and let me just say this. I've researched for many years on ways to live rent free. And you will read, watch, hear about all different kinds of ways, but there's a price you pay. Like, it may not be in your currency, not in your dollars, but there is a price you pay for living rent free. It just depends on the sacrifices you are willing to make and what your end goal is. So like, if your end goal is, okay, I'm going to live in a van and I'm going to try all the creative projects, all the startup ideas. I'm going to try every idea that I want to start or try. And while I'm trying those ideals, I'm going to live as rent free as possible. So that may not be totally rent free, but as rent free as possible. I'm gonna go for it. It's like going into a horse race or going into a casino, and you're gonna bet everything, every dollar you have on winning. And that's what you do when you bet on your creative project. You're exchanging you are exchanging not every dollar you have, but you betting a large portion of the money you would use to pay rent on your experiences or on your creative projects. That's what a person who is living, in quotations, rent free, someone like me, that's what I'm doing. Instead of paying rent, I'm paying it into my creative projects. I'm paying it into the bigger picture, the memories, what I can take with me. The memories go with me, the stuff don't. When done right, setting yourself up in one of the many ways to live, mostly rent free, can present itself with some life changing opportunities. It might be to travel, or it might be to get yourself a couple of years worth of savings. It might be this, and you might use that savings to get yourself the ideal vehicle or the ideal tiny home or the ideal home that you can, again, in quotations, pay off. Not paying rent, this is a biggie for me. It frees up your thoughts to have mental clarity for a couple of years. So if you're not stressing over paying the rent, sometimes with the mental clarity that you achieve, you'll have breakthrough in your finances, breakthrough in your relationships, and just breakthroughs, period. So those are some of the benefits of living rent free or living in situations that may not be ideal, but just gives you time to get yourself in a financial situation where stuff is ideal. So this does not mean you have to go live in a van, but it does mean that you might consider one of a dozen ways that can free you up from paying rent. Because life is short. We say it all the time, but we don't really believe it. Because if we really believed it, we would do things differently. We would live our life differently, but we don't because we think we're going to live forever and we're not. I'll end with this: whatever you do and however you do it, always, 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 always take the joy route. Give me your thoughts on this topic. I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe. Thank you, and take the joy route.